Thank you for tuning in to the Helium Radio Network. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do. Be who you were meant to be. Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. Peaceful Warriors.
Welcome to the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. My name is Roma Ostman. I am the office assistant, and this is my first time starting the podcast. Hello, everyone. I am joined today by... Don't make that face at me. I'm joined today by... No, Scott. Scott. I'm joined today by No Scott and Lena.
Yes, hi.
We are at 19 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street South. You can call us at 727-822-8866 or look at our website at peacefulwarriorswellness.com. And we're going to start off today with the self-care check-in.
Self-care check-ins.
Yay!
All right. One of my favorite things to do is talk about self-care.
Yes. That we all talk about, but we don't do nearly enough of.
Don't do well enough most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they are really simple, everyday steps that we can take, should take, and hopefully will take. And the only time that you have any control over is now. And so we'll get started now if we haven't started yesterday or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was. And one of my favorite things to talk about is water. Water. There's no substitute for it. They recommend that you drink at least 50% of your body weight in ounces. Add another 8 ounces for every cup of coffee or alcoholic beverage that you have that day, and add it all up, and that's how many ounces of water you should be drinking. And of course, there's many benefits to drinking that much water. One of which is when you hydrate your cells, they actually function better. It allows things to be processed in your body much easier. It also helps lose weight because when your cells are hydrated, your body doesn't hold on to the water that you put into it. It actually releases a lot more of the water, so you lose a lot of water weight in the process. So that's a really good thing.
And you also get a lot of exercise going to the bathroom.
I don't know if those count towards your exercise minutes, though.
It's got to be steps. It's got to count towards your steps.
Well, it may count towards that, yes. And then, of course, the other thing, that one of Lena's favorite topics that she loves to talk about is sleep.
Oh, yes.
And how important that is in getting enough sleep.
It really is important. And we were talking to someone this weekend about how most of us in our 20s and 30s do not get enough sleep.
Yeah, we're usually running on like 4 to 6 hours of sleep, if that. And
yes.
It's oftentimes interrupted sleep, and then you try to get a little bit more later.
Yes.
It just really doesn't give your body the time to recover properly.
No, and your body's going to take that sleep one way or another.
Eventually, you'll have to take more of it to make up for what you didn't take before.
Exactly. And that's how I feel now, is that since especially into my 50s, I have felt like that I am sleeping so much more. I need so much more sleep to be able to function at that level now.
Right. And it also makes a big difference in your moods.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're fatigued, it's really difficult to allow yourself to slow down, to process things, to not react to a lot of things when you're not properly rested.
I actually, I think I was talking to you about this the other day, where it's like the same 30 minutes of my morning getting ready feels different based on how much sleep I got. Like if I'm well rested, that 30 minutes lasts forever. Mm-hmm. But if I'm like kind of tired, I'm like, I'm still kind of rushed, I'm like, oh wow, 10 minutes have gone by and I'm still doing my eyeliner. And if I'm really tired, it's just like, oh, it's been 40 minutes and I thought it's been 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really hate it when it takes 10 minutes to do my eyeliner.
Oh, I gotta have them sharp enough to cut a man, you know? Like, that's how it goes.
All right. Well, on that note, being the only man on this podcast and in the room at the moment,
I'm not
I'm
gonna
now
cut you
scared.
my eyeliner.
If she pulls out an eyeliner and you don't hear from me, please send help at 19 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street, 33705. And the the emergency phone number is 911.
Please tell me you've seen that meme, though, Scott.
No.
Oh, man. I'll have to show you later.
I look forward to it. One of the things that we do in this office is we do like to have fun. And as we say a lot of times in our networking group, we take our business seriously, but we don't always take ourselves seriously. It's important for us to be able to have that lighthearted humor and interaction amongst each other. Is a very healthy, important thing. All right. So what is our next topic of conversation going to be today, Roma, as our MC?
Oh, boy. I'm in charge now. We're going to talk about stretching because I clearly don't do enough of it, and I need more tips to do stuff at home.
Well, one of the very first things I can recommend is one of the things that you do for us. I record a live stretching session 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:30 on Facebook on our business Facebook page. I stream it live, and then I post it right away so that you can watch it at your convenience at any time. But then later on, Roma takes the same video and posts it on YouTube, our YouTube channel. Do we have
It's
at PW Wellness?
YouTube is strange, and you don't really get ats, but
Oh.
you can search Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center on YouTube or PW Wellness on YouTube, and you'll find all of our videos. You'll see everything's also organized by month. So we have the November, December, and January and February stretching classes. So yeah, you can watch them all at your convenience whenever you want to. But the live stream is at 8:30, correct?
Yeah, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:30. Later this year, need to move them a little bit earlier. We're planning on moving, and we're going to be on the other side of the bridge when we move, and that's going to affect our commute and time schedule a little bit. So I'll probably do them a little bit earlier after we move down south across the bridge, but they'll still be available anytime.
You think that you'll be able to get the Gator to join in with you?
I have a funny feeling that they're not very focused on stretching, to be honest with you.
No.
Yeah, I've never
I
seen.
think
I've
you
never
could
seen a gator
convert
stretch.
him.
Maybe if he watches long enough,
Mhm.
he'll kind of get the idea and follow along. And there's probably a few of our clients out there that are like that too, that we're hoping that after a while that maybe they'll follow along. And what is kind of interesting, and I know I'm not sure what our viewership does on our channels one way or the other. I haven't gotten an
We're
update
doing
on that in
pretty
a while.
good.
You're doing pretty good. You'll find that if you follow me, that they're pretty consistent. And there's a reason for that, and that's because these stretches that I'm doing and have chosen are the ones that are going to help the most with people that have upper back, shoulder, and neck dysfunction, and lower back
And I mean, you
And-
both
and-
sit up at the same
yeah.
time.
and lower back hip dysfunction. Those are the two most common complaints that we get here in our office, and the two most common problems that people have that they say that are hurting or creating discomfort or keeping them from doing the things they want to do or need to do through their workday. So the consistency is very important, even though it seems very repetitive to do those stretches over and over and over again.
Even though doing all the same stretches over and over again, I've noticed that, like, for example, I was getting a massage from Catherine the other day, and she went to go stretch the front of my thigh, and she couldn't push it far enough. Like, it was just, I had been stretching that muscle for so long. It was just awesome. Like, it was good. It was happy. It was moving, flexible, and it pays off in the long run.
It really does, in the sense that when you start taking care of yourself, and I even know a lot of athletes that don't stretch properly. They work out hard, they practice hard, but when it comes time to stretching before and after, they kind of skip it.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because a muscle needs two things to function properly. It needs strength to create the movement and make that bone move in the direction you want it to move. Whenever that's occurring, the opposing muscle, I'll use biceps and triceps as an example because it's a very easy one that most people know. the front of the arm versus the back of the arm. When one muscle contracts, the other muscle has to lengthen to allow that bone to move. And if for whatever reason that muscle is not allowing the movement because it's too tight, then your range of motion is limited and your risk of injury goes up. And this is true not only of athletes, but it's true of each and every person listening. So it's very important to reduce your risk of injury, to improve your range of motion, and by doing so, improve the quality of life that you have in all movement. So that's my deal on stretching as far as that goes and why you should do it. And then you'll need to get massage probably less often if you're doing some of these self-care techniques with exercise and stretching.
Not true.
No? Well, please share with us.
Whenever you are exercising and stretching, your muscles are being worked more, and probably they are hurting more.
You do have a very valid point. Yep. Thank you for pointing that out. No, so it is important to still do all of your maintenance steps, to include getting massages, because you are working those muscles more.
Yeah, because those muscles hurt more whenever you are exercising and stretching more. Your muscles hurt. And massage takes that down to a more realistic level, to where if you are working, especially if you are working out, training for a triathlon, your body's going to hurt. I don't care what you do, your body's going to hurt if you're training for a triathlon. But massage makes it more manageable.
Absolutely. All I was trying to say is that including your stretching and part of your self-care will make it more beneficial in all aspects of your training. Your recovery time will improve. Your ability to lengthen your stride, for example, when you're running, will improve as you improve that range of motion, flexibility, and performance.
But I will also say that your massage will become much more enjoyable.
Yes.
That it's not going to be a painful process.
So earlier when I was talking about muscle contraction, if your muscle is only able to lengthen a certain amount because of the tension that's in it, that's also a reduced amount of contractibility that it has. So even people that are gym rats that are wanting to lift more weight and build on that muscle, that range of motion is very important to have more, a longer part of the fibers be contractible, have contractibility to it. So just, it's really important to do your stretching, whether you're exercising or not, and to take the pressure off of the joints that are creating the pain and discomfort and dysfunction that we all tend to have.
I'm definitely hearing a lot of the, when I first started here in October and I did the interviews with all the therapists, like I'm also hearing echoes of like why to stretch and drink water and do all these things to make the massage experience better in the sense of relaxation, for self-improvement, but also to give the therapist more room and time to work with. So instead of spending 30 minutes on one section of the body, they can cover more ground deeper in the muscles.
It does make a difference if we don't have to spend the time working the tissue as much to get into it and deeper because someone has spent the time stretching. That definitely is a good point.
Sweet. So I think that wraps us up really nicely for this section of the episode of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. We're going to take a short break and have a few messages from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Eric Remmel here, producer of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast, and I'm here today to tell you about the amazing folks at Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center. Not only am I a producer of the show, but I'm also a client. Their staff of therapists are truly the best at what they do. Now is your chance to check them out for yourself. Go to their website, peacefulwarriorswellness.com, and click Book Now, or give them a call at 727-822-8866. Use the promo code RADIO and get $15 off your first visit. Yes, you heard me right. $15 off your first visit. Now, this is just for a limited time, and make sure to tell them that you heard about it on heliumradio.com.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. I am your office assistant host for the day, Roma Osterman, and I am joined with Scott Roberts and Lena Roberts. Hi.
Owners extraordinaire.
Yeah, so we're back. Beautiful. So we are on our next topic today as we covered our self-care check-in and tips for stretching at home and resources for that. Now we're going to talk about a fun experiment we did last week with some vitamin gummies. Scott, would you like to kind of give the premise to our experiment?
I would love to. So since October, I've been associated with a company called Juice Plus, and it's been an incredible journey. I think it's really helped out with many facets of my improvements in health and wellness, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. But one of my colleagues had mentioned an experiment that they'd done, and I wanted to try it out for myself and see how it went. So one of the things that makes a difference in some of the nutritional things that you can buy and consume out there is whether or not it's bioavailable. And so what that means is the body's ability to take what's in there and pass it through the membrane wall of your small intestines to get into your bloodstream so it can be dispersed throughout the body to be used to make it function and work better. And so when you are taking most supplements, whether the ratio of those minerals, vitamins, nutrients is in the proper ratio or not, and whether or not it actually gets in your bloodstream is kind of what's really important. So even if you're buying, products off the shelf at the store that seem to be very affordable and the labels look really nice, it's not a regulated industry. The supplement industry is not regulated in that way. They do have to have a supplement label, which is very different than a nutritional label. But most of those things that you're going to go out and take are not getting into your bloodstream, which means that you're pretty much, for lack of a better term, and please forgive the frankness, pissing your money down the toilet. So if you happen to have that kind of money, please, instead of putting it in your toilet, bring it down here to Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center, drop it off at the desk. Roma will hold on to it for us, and we'll put it into our accounts.
Of course.
Right? I mean,
more than happy to.
More than happy, because we could all use more of that. But what's really important is, are you getting what you're paying for at all? And that's the question. So the experiment was through a lot of people like to take the gummies instead of taking capsules or pills.
Much tastier, definitely.
Right, and it's easier to, especially with your kids, sometimes, getting them to take pills and capsules seems more like medicine instead of a gummy, which is more like candy. And so we did a little bit of an experiment using some of the Juice Plus products that I've been taking every single day religiously, and so does my wife, Lena. And here in a few minutes, we'll hear from her on her experiences with different nutritional supplements as well. But what we did is we took 2 of the Juice Plus chewables, and we took 2 of the one-a-day chewables and 2 of the multivite chewables that we got at the store, and we put them into a cup of water, and we let them sit for quite a few hours.
I started the experiment at 2:30 p.m. and then checked on it at 3:30 and 4:30 p.m. Left for the day and came back. So where I was in the water for a total of 18 hours, and came back and checked it 10 a.m. the next morning. And
okay. What did you wind up finding?
So the Juice Plus gummies, as discussed and as we had guessed, hypothesized that it would completely dissolve. It was almost entirely dissolved by the time that I left. I think one of the gummies in there was like maybe a third of what it was at the 2 or the 3 hour mark. And then the next morning it was completely dissolved in the liquid. The second one, which was the VitaFusion multivitamin, that one was kind of grossly, it looked like 2 ghosts of a shell of a gummy in like a brown liquidy water. So it was like 2 clear gummies in syrup, and the one a day was very similar. So they still kind of retain their shape. They're like gummy shapes. So like the Vitafusion was more of a gumdrop, where the one a day had like a shape to it, like it was put in like some sort of mold when it was made. But none of the gelatinous portion of the gummy had dissolved at all. So just the nutrients inside of it had been pulled out, or what I would assume is the nutrients.
So what we can say because of that is that those 2 items that we had purchased were not water soluble. So there is obviously a chewing component to taking these, and let's just be honest, none of us chew our food as thoroughly as we should. So we know that some of that gummy is going into our stomach as a gummy, smaller portions of gummy. Other 2 products had actually absorbed water and become larger versions of themselves. They were basically waterlogged gummies and holding onto water. And I can't help but wonder how much of that gummy, after it goes through the stomach, which I don't know what anybody's stomach acid content is and what effect it has on those chewables or doesn't. That wasn't part of our experiment. But what I do know is that if it's water soluble, its likelihood of being bioavailable and getting through that membrane and actually going into your bloodstream. And there are research studies by independent colleges and hospitals that have been done on these products to prove their double-blind placebo effect, yada, yada, yada. They're very thorough in their research when they do these. And all Juice Plus does is supply the product. They're not part of the actual research that's being done by these organizations. That it is bioavailable. It does get in your bloodstream, whereas most other things that are out there do not. So it was just an interesting experiment to show the water solubility and the quality of the product that's there compared to other things. I'd heard about it, but I wanted to really see it for myself and document it and see what it does. So it was a really neat experiment.
I do enjoy that. And what was there's something that I was also thinking about through the experiment is that, like, most of the time when people are taking these supplements, whether they are choosing the gummies or the non-gummies, the more capsule forms, or like the filled capsules, or the hard vitamins, like the chewable hard vitamins, what was it? I think it was Catherine. She was actually curious about the sugar content of just gummy vitamins in general. I mean, she was looking at the Juice Plus ones, but just thinking about it in general. And there is just capsule forms of Juice Plus available, right? There's not just gummies.
There are, okay. Yeah. That's what I take every single day, are the fruits, vegetables, berries, and the omegas in a capsule. And so those don't have the caloric value that the chewables do, and even each serving is 15 calories per serving, so it's negligible as far as that goes. But they do taste good. I've eaten them, and everybody that's eaten them has said that they taste pretty good. The vegetable one, if you eat it by itself, is a little earthy, but the other 2 are very sweet. But they're not just sweet because of the sugar content; they're sweet because they're actually using real fruit. And what's different about Juice Plus is they're the only one that I know of that has a nutrition label instead of a supplement label. And the reason being is because it's whole food. It's not processed for the fruit, vegetable, and berry blend. In the Omega blend, it does have a supplement label. But what's really neat about that, I don't know if you've ever taken any of the fish oil Omegas.
No.
Well, a lot of people don't like to take them because they taste fishy. And then a lot of people don't like taking them because of the impact on the environment. The thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of fish that have to be farmed and killed in order to get the fish oil. It takes like 4 pounds of fish to get 1 ounce of fish oil.
No, this is all news to me. I am blown away right now. I'm so sorry.
So
man.
Think about all the different products that you've seen on the shelf with fish oil and how many hundreds of thousands of fish have had to be killed in order to obtain the fish oil. Right? That's a lot. And so what Juice Plus has done is they've extracted the omegas directly from the plants. So one of the is algae, which is the plants that fish eat.
And that's super easy to grow, right?
It is, and it's nowhere near as impactful on the environment. We're not depleting the oceans of fish in that area anyway. I'm sure they're being depleted in a lot of other for a lot of other products. But when it comes to fish oil, they're using organic seed oil and algae to create the omega blend that has omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and it has the EPA and DHA, and I forget exactly what those stand for, but for anybody that's done any research on omegas, they're very important to what happens with those products in your body and the benefits that they provide you. But it was just a really neat experiment. It was neat to hear about it, and then thank you very much, Roma, for actually doing the experiment and documenting it. And it's neat to talk about. But for anybody that would like to kind of do that experiment on your own, if you have chewables at home right now, go get a clear glass or a plastic cup, take 2 of them, put them in the water, and let them sit, and come back and see what's happening with whatever version you have, whatever brand that is. What do you think, Leah? And what has been different with those chewables than other chewables that you've taken in the past?
Any of the multivitamins, I don't care what they were, what brand they were, I threw them back up. Like, within minutes of me taking them, I was nauseated, and usually within an hour, I was expelling them. When I was pregnant, I used to have to go in and get IV vitamins, IV Hyperal, because I could not digest the vitamins. I tried the liquid ones, the gummies, the powder, the capsules, the solid ones. None of them could I digest.
Skeptical.
And so I was very skeptical when it came to the gummies, but they don't smell like vitamins because they're not vitamins. But I started taking them and had no reaction to it at all. Like, I could take it and drink my coffee and go on for the rest of the day and not feel the nausea.
Yeah.
I like gummies. So it was, and I feel better. I feel, especially like in the mornings when I go in there and I take those gummies and I drink my coffee, and I feel, I won't say I feel full, but I feel like I have something on my stomach that's not, because a lot of times I'm not able to immediately go in and eat breakfast or eat something.
That's great.
But I can take those gummies and I feel like I have something on my stomach.
All right. Well, I think that concludes our podcast for today. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Usually it's me joining you, but today you're joining me.
Hey.
Yay!
Yeah, it's been fun. I like it.
I do too. I did.
Huzzah! Alrighty. Well, I hope everyone listening today has a wonderful day. Thank you for listening, and we hope to have you guys here next time on our podcast. If you'd like to get more information, please check out our website, peacefulwarriorswellness.com. There you can find our blogs, our therapist, as well as other episodes of our podcast. And if you'd like to call us or schedule an appointment, you can call us at 727-822-8866. And we are at 19 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street South in St. Petersburg, Florida. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to Helium Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and should not be construed in any way as advice from Helium Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, and editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the express written consent of Helium Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.